I'm on the 8 o'clock with our first year housing options discussion. You know, we brought up Brook School, and one of the questions we had last time was, well, I guess Jack was going to investigate the existing permit and subsidizing agency and funding for Brook School. We kind of talked about what that was, right? So we kind of understand where we are with that, so that's good.
I got interested in Brook School, so I did some studies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the right time or place to take a look at where I got, but I looked at the site, because you were talking about the sort of units in the back 40. I'm trying to figure out footprints that would have low impact on the site, and then the architectural consequences, you know, what would fit in those footprints. So I developed some plans, and but what I was coming up with was buildings about this size. I assumed that they were mostly one bedrooms.
Yeah.
So
Well, one and some two bedrooms.
So one and some two. So I started with all ones. I went to ones and twos. I went to different sort of arrangements of ones and twos. It started out in that footprint that it looks to me like you could get, depending on the number of stories, I went 2 stories and 3 stories. You could get, if a building fitting in this little footprint is 2 stories high, each of these buildings would be 10 units, 10 one-bedroom units. If it's 3 stories, it goes up to 16 units, a total of 32 in those 2 footprints. So you can, if you're dealing with smaller units, like 1 and some 2 bedroom units, you can get quite a bit of RPMs out of the size. I went up to, I actually added some 2 bedroom units. So anyway, I went through a whole series of studies, all the way up to 14 units in a 2-story building and 22 units in a 3. It's still in that footprint.
Yeah.
The 2-story might look something like that.
Sure.
The 3-story might look something like that. It's what get more impact.
And the existing, the existing buildings are 3 stories easily. I mean,
Yeah.
Building C, there was a question that Sarah raised about redoing the top floor.
Correct.
Right. Adding 6 units on there. I figure if we could get 14 units in one of those footprints,
right.
and the 6 units on the roof of the existing building, and get a comprehensive permit for those, then we'd be there at least for year 1,
Right.
and then we'd have some breathing room to strategize for the rest of it.
Right.
So that's why I went through this exercise, to see what the impacts would be of putting 14 units back there for starters.
Yep.
And I think it's pretty feasible, at least geometrically. Not really a problem at all.
Well, that's great. One of the questions is, do you just make it more elderly and disabled housing, or do you make it affordable housing and have families and that sort of thing?
Then you increase the number of 2s in relationship to the 1s.
Right.
And I've got some
Twos aren't really
combinations in
available.
here.
No, you need the 3.
You need 3s, some 3s.
Yeah.
You can do
Well,
that.
if you do a comprehensive permit, 10% of the units are going to have to be 3 anyway. Family
10?
housing is really 3.
10%.
If it's family housing.
Yeah.
No.
To
If
get
you
the
do
permit.
that,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
No, I think you can, I think there is an exemption for age restriction.
Yeah.
So if it's age restricted, are there still percentages you got to meet?
No.
No. So
Is that a big jump to introduce family housing in that,
To an elderly.
on that site?
they're different buildings.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
Right.
thinking, both politically and programmatically,
Well,
whether that's
Is
a
it-
big change.
is that better or worse than just making it an elderly
Yeah,
housing complex.
yeah,
I don't-
I agree.
I think
mean,
you can argue
I
both
think-
sides of it.
Yeah, I must say personally, I like the movement to family housing, but on the other hand, we may be finding ourselves with challenges that we didn't anticipate. I just don't know enough about the context. I don't know enough, for example, about what the Board of Selectmen, feel.
Mhm.
But it's not a deal breaker, but
No.
to put
No.
10% 3 bedrooms in
Right.
a complex like that.
No, I think that's great work. I think that's,
I think that's wonderful. You did.
Does that displace the soccer field?
Actually, the damn GIS doesn't show the athletic fields.
Right.
And that
So,
has
I
just recently
can't- I
changed
couldn't-
too.
But
That
I-
recently got the shape and the location of the soccer field got changed.
Yeah.
Just like in the last 6 months.
I think it's in the tennis courts, but I don't know for sure. It's just-
That's tennis courts.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
That's
very
what,
nice.
but those were just resurfaced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
still,
And they say that and they also, those are leased by Meadowbrook School.
Yeah.
sometimes.
The Recreation Commission depends on that as income. Look, just speaking for them, because they're not sitting around the table, they've already made that statement. Not that it changed, you just need to know that there's
Yeah.
some people who are married to some of this stuff, and they should be, so.
Sure.
Something's gotta be displaced or removed or
And put
relocated.
somewhere else, yeah.
And the Case Estates is just opening up, so there's an opportunity to.
Yeah, well, that's the other part.
Spots and-
So, to me, we have these two things. We have Brook School that has some infrastructure already there.
Right.
So it would be potentially a little bit easier for us to do that. But then we have to displace something and put it somewhere else. So is the net, does it make sense to develop something in the Case Estates? I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not trying to answer, I'm just throwing that out.
Right,
as
no, it's
No,
discussion.
it's clear that we're gonna have to move pieces around the board, that
Yeah.
make things
They're
happen.
they're putting another soccer field where the old field school is, I think.
It's already in, yes.
So,
It
you
hasn't
know,
been planned.
in a way, you could say that's a 1-for-1,
Just so you're aware, when I talked to the Recreation Commission to break the ice, they told me, both Ellie and Chris, said that they are reconstituting their playfield study committee to determine how many fields of what type they need and what the usage is. So they both agreed it's a good time for us to be discussing that with them, because a field could fall out of this going, guess what? We really haven't used them very well. We could, and it depends on if it's an 11-on-11 soccer field or an 8-on-8, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
We got them to reduce the size of that soccer field from 11 by 11 to 8 by 8.
Yeah, they went to an 8-by-8.
And when they met with us to discuss that, they said that frankly, that's one of the least desirable soccer fields in town, because it's not near the schools, and it's difficult for people to park and get there, and, so of all the soccer fields in town, if they had to let one go, I think that might be high on their list. But
Without thinking much about it, because I basically caught them off guard, their first statement was, well, you realize that the biggest demand is for the 8-by-8 soccer field. Yeah, that was last week. So just, it's bound to happen. But because of putting a group together, if we can somehow knit ourselves in with that group so we can understand what's going on.
sure.
But I was glad I broke the ice, at least let them know we're out there. And I told them, from our standpoint,
Good.
this is much more important than a soccer field. But I said, you don't have to respond, I know what your position is, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're thinking about it, if this soccer field has to be relocated, and you're thinking about the Case land, there are some possibilities.
Absolutely.
One is the fairly flat area behind the barn, Case barn. It could work. Another one might be in somewhere in the Pine Woods area.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about recreation, so we're not talking about necessarily the maximum. I don't know. I just think there's.
We have to be careful, because
Yeah, no, I
slip and
know.
fall and.
Yeah. Well,
Right,
but
that was, are we gonna get that reaction?
well, it doesn't matter. It's the field behind the barn is going to be
It's fine.
cleaned up
Yeah.
anyway.
Yep.
And the town is going to have to just deal with the Pine Woods,
Correct.
whatever happens there.
Correct.
it's gonna be a lot of pressure from a lot of directions to do something in the Pine Woods besides just keep just walking paths through there. So,
The other element about field school is that the septic system is right on the edge, and we can't add any units to that existing septic system. Based on the size, and I've done the math myself, but I did check with Wendy. If we add units, we're gonna have to go to an active treatment system. So that's just part of the cost of doing
Yeah.
business. If we add it to that, we'll have to go to active.
Oh, well, you
For
said
the
the
whole
field
building.
school, you meant the Brooks School.
Brook School, I'm
you're
sorry.
talking about a
Confused.
package
Brook
plan?
School, I'm sorry.
Right.
We're gonna have to go to an active treatment system.
Right.
And increase the leaching area.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's sort of a cost of doing business, right? I mean.
Yes, without question, yeah. It doesn't,
It's another piece of
it doesn't, it doesn't make it so we require less area for leaching. It just replaces the septic tank with an active treatment system, which is gonna add
At cost.
cost.
Right, sure.
And it's gonna add maintenance cost.
But it's not, you know, you're not talking about $10 million or something like that.
No, but you're adding capital cost and you're adding maintenance cost. They have a tendency to break down, and we have to maintain them, because we have some in the schools, so they require constant maintenance.
Like the high school, does that have an
Yeah.
active treatment system?
Yeah, it's too big. It's too big for a septic tank.
Yeah.
Now, if we had a 20-unit building someplace, that wouldn't require, that's just a septic tank and leaching field. That's easy.
Even if it's on the same piece of ground as other,
No, it would have to be on a separate piece of property.
yeah.
We couldn't put that in the Brook School and put a septic system in only for that building. They wouldn't allow us to do it in the same property. We'd have to combine.
Yeah. But-
Actually, for the 6 units on the top of Building C,
Yes.
they told us that we could put in another septic system for those 6 units. The feasibility study said we could do that.
Did the Board of Health say that?
I believe it was, I'm not sure who okayed it, but we got, that was the advice we got.
Okay. I guess the one cautionary note on the 6 units on top of Building C is it's the opinion of the permanent building committee that those would be excessively expensive.
Well, then that's the question I had is, you know, does it make more
Per unit
sense?
cost would be through the roof.
Does it make more sense
Literally.
to add,
Yeah.
to add those units that Al's
Yeah.
proposing? Or
Yes, I'd go with something,
that might be much more cost effective.
to my way of thinking and the PDC's way of thinking, if we can build a building that's on a greenfield, brownfield, or any other kind of site, but we don't do renovation to something, especially an older building, we're much better off. We have many fewer problems by doing it that way.
Right.
As soon as you
So-
renovate an existing building, it just becomes difficult.
Sort of bang for the buck. It
And
might be,
that's an occupied building. You know,
might be more effective to do that. Although the sort of historic people would like to see the.
It doesn't say we can't, but let's not assume that we can just bang 6 units up there.
No, it's gonna be
That's
more
very-
difficult.
That's a very difficult site.
But what
In
we
fact-
need is the permit,
Yeah, right.
right? Of course, we have to follow through.
Yes, and they have to fund it and build it.
Well, and the architects
It's just a
did the
detail.
feasibility study for both projects, the old library and the Building C. I mean, the cost per unit was much less in the old library than it was on top of Building C.
Building C, there are a lot of Building C upgrades that need to be made if we put.
You have to put in a
those
sprinkler system in the
Yeah,
whole
the sprinkler
building.
system is the killer.
Yeah.
And the elevator,
Elevator,
Elevator, right.
elevator or sprinkler system.
Well, they said the elevator, they could put in a separate elevator that went to the top floor. But
Right, still, but that's
It's
an
$100,000.
elevator, it's still $100,000 bucks.
Retrofit the building with a sprinkler system?
well, and apparently you have to
Yeah.
put in some sort of earthquake.
Yes, that's
yeah,
beside.
that's right, it's gotta, that should be upgraded.
As soon as you touch it, you have to do that.
That's a biggie.
So there's
Yeah,
some
and old
major
buildings
hurdles.
like that. And those are some of the reasons that it's nice to just to stay away from us.
So there's some major hurdles to doing that.
Yeah. While we're talking about that,